Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 3 for 1 Sky Fantasy Podcast from Fantasy Football Hub. We look ahead to the remainder of Gameweek 38 and onto Gameweek 39. Today, Paul, is our 150th episode, which is pretty incredible. So the Sky Fantasy Podcast 3 for 1, 150 episodes. How do you feel?
Old.
You look old as well.
Well, that's good. That's some feat. Consider I don't know what you thought at the start of this. I don't know if we did have legs or didn't have legs in it, but we've got a solid base of consistent listeners, which is great.
Yeah, it's I think it's a pretty big milestone for such like a niche game, isn't it? You know, FPL goes kind of on and on, doesn't it? But Sky is pretty niche, so 250 episodes is pretty incredible. So just a quick thank you to everyone who's been involved. Dan, Liam, Ian, any guests we've had on as well, and anyone involved. And thanks to all the listeners and watchers who've been with us, all the way through as well. Right, kind of all the way back to the COVID 9 p.m. streams and onwards. They were really good fun and onwards. So yeah, here's to the next 150 potentially. We shall see.
There's been some great episodes as well. Like we had Liam live on when he won. Then there was a week where we occupied the first 3 spots in the overall leaderboard.
We did. We've had some awesome kind of live shows and live instances, haven't we? And
your meltdown that time.
I haven't got my glass with me, but yeah, when I told someone, don't like it, get off the stream. Yeah, we've had some pretty good ones. Welcome everyone in the chat. Windy is in. Says good evening. Learned a harsh lesson by captaining Foden yesterday, but I guess I wasn't the only one. Let's actually play this now. I had a voice note rant, a bit of nostalgia for those listening back from the day. A Dan Cox rant about the team leakers. Let's have a little listen to this. Hang on.
This week in the no Twitter accounts. I'll tell you what they know. Bugger all. They don't know nothing, mate. They're not in the know. They get what's the point? They putting the team news out 5 minutes before we get it officially on a Sunday. Oh, what about 11 o'clock, mate? Half 12 at latest. Come on, that's ridiculous, mate. Just sick of it. In the know. Yeah, Foden was taken ill yesterday. Yeah, you didn't know about it, did you, mate? You found out at the same time as the rest of us. Absolute joke. Foden captain, didn't you? Just a joke, mate. I'm just sick of these Twitters in the know. They know nothing, mate. They know nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They know nothing.
That was completely out the blue as well. You weren't having a conversation with him or anything.
Sent me the voice note, which was well timed, obviously, given our 150th episode as well. But yeah, absolutely. Foden. I captained Foden. Did you captain Foden?
Yeah.
It was.
My run of captains has been dreadful,
I've
been making all the sensible moves, and the players that brought in, I've hit the ground running. It's just I've not captained them when I've brought them in, and it's killed me.
Yeah, same. I've had an awful run all through, Saka, Salah, all the big captains you just expect to do something. Kind of scared to go against, Saliba and everyone else. All the more consistent ones. Rodri, Captain Foden on Thursday when he obviously got his big haul, which was the first captaincy haul I've had in I can't even remember when. So, but yeah, tough going for that. Dave Hannigan is in as well, as is Colin Johnston. He asks, "We had no transfers left. What is the best 11 from now to the end of the season?" We'll have a little look at that in a bit. Bobby Shearer's in. Tim WD says, "This is interrupting the snooker." Well, Tim, I would say that the snooker is interrupting this stream. Thank you very much. He captained Rodri, but agree there should be a vice captain. Perry Hart, Johnny White, FPL Spartans, John Aconley, Michael Blackburn, Viney62, put in Bruno and captained him. Do you know, I was going to captain... I was tossing up between Bruno and Isaac on Saturday as well, and I messaged you And you know, I was going him anyway. I looked at his last 4 scores and they were ridiculous. Bruno's one, they like 18, 11, 15 or whatever it was. I was going Bruno, but those swings, they just hurt, don't they? They hurt when it feels like, tell you what it felt like this season. When you go for someone and he bangs, the alternative also bangs. But when you don't go for the right one, the alternative still bangs. That's what I felt like also. It's very rare. I haven't had many big rises, if that makes sense, this year at all.
You mentioned Perry Hart there. He's doing really well this season. He's up near the top.
Well done, Perry. Superb stuff. Amon Tatler is in, flying. Nailed Bruno, Foden and Isaac captains. Wow, they were 3 big captains on the trot. Well played. Peter Clinch, my old headmaster, is in. Glenn Murray, John Maloney, Arwin is in. Peter May, Darren Skidmore, Matt SkyFF, DT93. Thank you so much for all the lovely comments about 115 not out. We are still going. We should hopefully celebrate 200 potentially towards the end of next season maybe. But yeah, thanks all. In terms of like I'm just in free fall. If I haven't had many transfers for a while, so every transfer I've made has been a sort of a hygiene transfer, which obviously not going to get any gains off really. You're just trying to cling on. And on top of that, when choosing the wrong captains, it just go down and down and down and down. So, you know, I've got one transfer left now, which I've got earmarked to get Bruno back in a week Monday, I think. So, I was hopeful of a top 200 finish. I would absolutely take a top 500 finish now, the way it's going. Maybe even a top 1,000 finish, because there are still people with lots of transfers left still. Like even in the chat earlier, I saw one. I've only got 6 transfers left, and I'm thinking, I would kill for 6 transfers. But I feel like, Paul, we're on a similar sort of trajectory, and our seasons are petering out a touch.
We are. I don't need to bring Bruno back in though, so I'm going completely left field with what I've got left.
Ooh, are you willing to share on the pod, or
yeah?
Okay, we'll touch on that in a sec. Let's have a look at the remaining fixtures. Just 3 weeks to go. Man City got 4 games left. Haaland back off the bench with a goal. Hopefully should finish the season strongly. United have got 4 left, but they don't play till next Monday. Arsenal just the 3 left, but 2 of them are at home. Liverpool just the 3 left. I mean, Salah. What's happened to Liverpool? They've just absolutely fallen off a cliff. I remember a few weeks ago saying how fantastic they were. The brand of football they were playing, the intensity was incredible, and sort of fallen off a cliff. But they are home to Spurs next. Lots of people are taking out Salah. He's a massive differential going into that day, I think.
Yeah.
And then obviously Chelsea and Spurs have both got the 5 left because they play this week as well. But what's your take on the landscape, Paul, with a few weeks to go?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The Liverpool Aston Villa single will be very interesting as well. I think a lot of people in group chats, etc., are earmarking Ollie Watkins to come back in. Looks like I'm going to have to hold Van Dijk and captain him in that game, Same. Which is going to be pretty scary against a highly owned Ollie Watkins, but needs must, etc. Yeah, not many games to go. I myself just want to get to the finish line now and get through it. I think there's a few opportunities. We're going to talk about a few players coming up. We've got a slide with 5 players that I've earmarked. You had mentioned the Man United. Got 4 fixtures. That kicks off next Monday. You've also got the following Sunday as an opportunity to hop on to get 3-for-1s over most players there as well. Beyond Bruno, maybe Garnacho's probably the second favourite. Onana, I can imagine, for the fixture gains as well, might be popular. Just none of them are guaranteed bonus of any sort. So I don't know that there's any players beyond that people would want. And I could actually see, instead of making fixture gains like that, people just waiting until the last day of the season and taking a, like Arsenal have got Everton at home. Would you go back to Saka knowing that he's going to be lowly owned and potentially a good captain in that day? Liverpool's at home to Wolves. Wolves haven't been particularly great either. So I could see some people wait until the very last day maybe to use one or two transfers if they've still got some in reserve.
Let's take a look at some of the players we have highlighted for the coming weeks. I don't know if you've seen the slide, Paul, but you want to run through them?
I've seen the slide. I sent you which 5 players to put on it, so I should know which ones they're on it regardless.
Don't give away our secrets.
The first person I highlight is Stefan Ortega. So with Ederson coming off injured at half time yesterday and his arm in a sling, it looks, there's a good chance that he could be out till the end of the season. Ortega could be a nice move for those that have done really well in Pickford. Let's see, Pickford four clean sheets in his last 5. Now all of Pickford's clean sheets in that period, all 4 clean sheets were at home. So Everton's obviously like a dice side, hard to break down at home. They did lose the 6 goals away at Chelsea on the single away game in that period of time. 2 of their 3 fixtures coming up are away from home. But even if you've got Pickford, you're obviously going to hold on for captaincy in the Luton game. And then, as I say, you can move on to Ortega and get the 4 games for City, assuming that he's going to play the remainder of the game. I think I'd rather that than have Onana for the 4 games.
Dreadful. And they've got Palace, who are flying at the moment. I know. I've noticed that Palace's goals are very contingent on whether Eze is in the team or not. If he's in the team, they fly. If not, but then they've got Arsenal and Newcastle are both scoring for fun, aren't they? It's just it's going to be painful.
So Ortega's first one I've highlighted. Second one, again, similar. If you're in a position where you've got Van Heck moving on to Branthwaite, covered off the single, and then you've got 2 more games. So effectively, if Van Heck's out for the remainder of the season, you're getting 4 games out of that. I have caveated that because I'm considering this move myself. The fact that Everton have got the 2 away games out of the 3, and therefore with the captaincy, it's 3 away games out of the 4.
Yep.
So I'm not considering going for Branthwaite. Who I'm going for is 0.3% owned Carlton Morris.
Wow.
My formation allows me, and I've got just enough budget to move Van Heck to Morris. I know that I probably won't convince anybody to go for him on this as well, but I had a look through his numbers this season haven't been bad at all in terms of his returns in Sky Fantasy. Even the games where he scored, I went through his scores expecting them to be 7s only, but in most games where he scored, he's picked up shots bonus as well, whether that be tier 1 or tier 2 as well. So I quite fancy him as a low and differential. Luton have got something to play for. As I say, I'm not advocating many to go down that route, and I don't believe many will either. But the fact that I've got 7.2 million to play with, he's 7.1 million. I'll caveat that with 3 things though. Van Heck has to be out for the season for me to do this. Carlton Morris has to start for me to do this. And if I picked up an injury elsewhere in my team with a more higher valued player before Friday, then I wouldn't I'd likely not do that and instead, save it for Watkins or somebody else. But at present I'm certainly thinking of doing it.
Why go for Watkins when you can go for Carlton Morris though?
Well, yeah, but I'd be losing a player that's of a high value to bring Watkins in, and I can't bring that player back either. So most of my other players I'm happy with in the team. So Ollie Watkins mentioned there, if I had an abundance of transfers, I'd be making sure he was a priority coming in for that Liverpool game. And then the last one I mentioned was Nicholas Jackson, and it's based on fixture volume only, really.
Only. He scores against Spurs on Thursday night. I'm convinced.
Well, and that'd be part of the reason, because that's the hop-on point if you were coming back onto him. I thought he played really well at the weekend, other than that wasn't the game that I was concerned of how bad he was in front of goal. It's been previous games to that, but yeah, I thought he played really well. I actually thought, watched the midweek game last week. I thought against Liverpool, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that's probably the best game I've ever seen him play for Everton. I know he's not on the list. I know he was injured at the weekend there. I thought, just speaking of all-round forward play, I thought his hold-up play was very, very good, and one of the best centre forward displays I've seen in the Premier League this season. I think all-round play.
I think Nicholas Jackson next year with I can't go back as well. I think we're going to see a good player. He's only 22. I think he looks a bit older, which is why maybe we're all subconsciously comparing him to players in their mid to late sort of 20s and stuff. But he's really, really young. He's had a tough ask at Chelsea as well. That number 9 shirt at Chelsea, that forward spot has been cursed for a long time. He's not had much support around him as well, and I think he's done all right. I know he misses and stuff, but just look at Havertz this year, right? Players just grow and develop, and I think he'll be a good player in a few years. But I think he'll definitely score against Spurs.
5 games to run. West Ham at home this weekend coming as well. West Ham,
yeah,
defensively.
Yep, good options there, mate. Well, I say that I'm not sure. I'm not sure on the Morris one, but good option.
I'm like so focused on it as well. Like nobody could talk me out at this point. But then I've got very little to play for, and I'm pretty happy with the fact that you're getting the captaincy hunt out of it as well. I have done a few of these this season that haven't paid off, which is part of my the reason why I'm maybe not as at the dizzy heights as I was last season. But I accept that, learn from it. Not learn from it till the tail end of this season. Learn for it for next season.
Looking ahead to later on this week, as we know, it's Spurs. Is it Spurs and Chelsea or Chelsea and Spurs? It's Chelsea against Spurs. Quite a few people brought in Son, obviously Palmer. I haven't got Palmer on the slide because he's like, I think he's actually 100% owned, didn't he? In the top 1K. Yeah. Not sure what Son is now. Should we take a little look? Son is 62.
Yeah, he jumped from 5% to 62. Yeah.
Son is 62% owned. But there are some options. Like we've got Jackson on here, as we've already said. Petrovic as well, potentially. Sanchez is still not in training, but it's volume of fixtures, you say. But now that Ortega's here, I think it probably rules Petrovic out. In terms of just anything other than Palmer and potentially Son, any other opportunities there, Paul, for you?
Well, I mean, the time to move on to Romero was yesterday, but again, if you're sitting in a position where your player that you want to take out was playing yesterday and like a defender suits your formation better to bring in someone now, maybe it leads to a future move and a daisy chain that way, then maybe again Romero, if you don't think that ship's sailed. Still got 5 games left for Spurs as well. But beyond that, there's not too much, I don't think.
Really, there's not. Yeah, Romero for me. Romero, Son, maybe Jackson, but that's an absolute punt. I definitely wouldn't go with Petrovic now with the, Ortega likely being available. I think the news in Edison was that he's, potentially dislocated his shoulder, and I think Pep said last night something like it's not looking good. And whenever anyone says that, then they're going to be a while. Definitely won't be back the season. You would guess. Looking ahead to the weekend's matches, Friday we've already touched on Luton and Everton.
Yeah, best captaincy is Carlton Morris.
Carlton Morris. Those who went on Pickford a few weeks ago. Some went for Raya, some went for Pickford, some moved straight to Onana. The
Raya moves worked out okay.
It has, it has.
But it's just in comparison to the Pickford move, it's just like
the fact that Everton have still essentially, with the captaincy, got 5 fixtures left, haven't they? To Raya's 3 as well now.
4.
Yeah, sorry, 4. With the captaincy, I mean as well. If he's
it's 3.
Oh, it's 3 plus. Apologies. But yeah, Pickford's been a hell of a pickup. Let's just touch on Van Heck.
Those sliding doors movements are like fascinating. I know it's like comes down to all fantasy games, but like the Gabriel versus White one where I was like 0.1 short, and you get the player that's like, if I hadn't made that move, I'd be like way further down.
When had done, Ben got rid of Rodri instead of Kudus. Be higher up as well.
Whatever. Possibly. I don't know who I would have. I have no idea what I would have done.
But as you say, sliding doors, and it is incredible. If you actually kind of analysed those moves, how interesting would that be to be, if we hadn't have this, if I'd done this, I would forced into this, or I wouldn't have done this, or I had to do this, or oh my goodness, you could. There's a study into that, into someone's team, over a season, and it's just incredible. Yeah, Van Heck. I'll just have a look, Paul, while you give your summary on Van Heck, because we've had a lot of questions of what to do with him, really. So what's your take as it stands?
I mean, if he's fit for the weekend, or likely going to be fit for the weekend, I don't like the cop out of it's team dependent. I guess it is. But there's a few mitigating things, like how many transfers have you got left? What can you afford? If you couldn't afford then, if you were locked in, like on defender as well, if you're locked into that position, would you pick up Branthwaite potentially and do it that way, especially if you've got a few transfers? I would focus on the single game days coming up. So have you already got cover in place for Crystal Palace, Man United, Aston Villa, Liverpool? I imagine most will have coverage for the other games beyond that, outside of Luton, Everton as well. So it's, can you pick up a player for one of those games? Can you pick up a player that perhaps plays 5 games?
Yeah.
Well, 5 games would be Spurs and Chelsea only. And thinking about it that way, as I say, I've kind of nailed myself to the mast, and I'm going Carlton Morris with mine, and I've got very few /1 transfer left. So people know what my plan is, and again, depending on what your overall position is and what your overall aspirations are as well. I don't really think I've got much to lose by going Morris, but if I was up higher and I didn't have Rodri, would that make more sense for me, knowing that I was getting Man City's got 5 games. Rodri's going to get at least 5. He averages at least 5 points a game, if not like 6 or 7. So that's a 35 points for Rodri if you've got another injured player to take out. So it's all of those things into consideration as well. If I had transfers and had Van Heck, then maybe it's part of a double move, so I'm not drained by the value of them as well.
Yeah, the update isn't helpful from De Zerbi. He says
muscular.
He says
problem,
muscular hamstring problem. He misses out, but he doesn't know. I don't know how much time or how many games, but he can't play. This is for about the last game. The muscular hamstring injury. That's all. It's just.
So my thing on that is, and we've mentioned before about using saving transfers to the end, of which neither of us will listen to our own advice. But at this stage of the season, Brighton also have nothing to play for, and why would you rush someone back if it's a hamstring muscular injury? Surely you just leave them out for the last few games. They can't qualify for Europe, I don't think, or if they could, it would be like a complete outsider's chance. So yeah, I imagine he doesn't. I don't think he does come back, but I don't know anything more than other than those quotes that you've mentioned.
I think the fact that Brighton play, they're one of the last teams to play on Wednesday the 15th, just before the last game day. They've got Villa and Newcastle next, Sunday, Saturday. So that's another 2 weeks. Then there's another half a week. So you kind of got about 18 days or 17 days till the last 2 games, which are in quick succession, Wednesday, Sunday. I'm holding out. I mean, like I've only got 1 transfer left anyway, right? But
yeah, you need to cover it. But you're doing exactly what I would do in your position, in that you don't have coverage for the Crystal Palace Man United game, and Man United's got more fixtures. So I'd be targeting that game rather than messing about with Van Heck.
Exactly, it's upside as well. I'm stuck in a 3 at the back, so I could go for Branthwaite, but as you've already said, away to Luton. Luton score in most games. Sheffield United, in all fairness, score in most games as well, and then it's Arsenal away at the end. So
Luton's scored in, I think it's 22 of their last 23. The only game they never scored against was Arsenal.
And Sheffield United, even though they're awful, they seem to always score as well, or they have been recently, haven't they? And Arsenal away at the end. So I can't get excited about an Everton defender, whereas I'd rather just leave him in there. I mean, even if he scores nothing, it's not the end of the world, because the upside's elsewhere.
So we've given a few examples, so we've given 2 different takes on it, and based on us having different setups in our teams.
I think the only player I would move on to if I could is Romero still. I think he's the only one. I'm not even sure I'd go for Dunk. I don't know, 3 of the home games are 4. Maybe Dunk, Romero, but that's it. So Saturday, Arsenal, Bournemouth, early kickoff, then Sheffield United, Forest, Burnley, Newcastle, Brentford, Fulham. They are 3 very boring 3 o'clock games. Man City, Wolves at 5:30. Obviously, we don't see the Man City team. I think we probably have to assume that Haaland's going to be fit because they don't play before, and when he came off, Haaland captain.
Yeah, nice easy one for me. I think.
Sunday, Chelsea, West Ham. We see the lineups: Brighton and Villa. We don't see Liverpool and Spurs. I would have loved to have held on for Salah for this game, just because I think Liverpool are gonna. Well, I don't think they're gonna batter Spurs, but I think it'll be a very high scoring game, like a 3-2 or something. So I'd love to have held on for Salah for this one. Captain on this one, Palmer.
In Palmer's last 5 home games, he's returned 7, 13, 17, 23, and 29.
He's an absolute animal, isn't he? Animal, the boy is.
And in fairness, his away games have been tricky. In that, since the turn of the year, it's been Liverpool, Man City, Sheffield United. Maybe expect a bit more. Arsenal, which he missed, and then Villa. So in fairness, he has had difficult away games. But wait, listen to this run of home fixtures, right? So he blanked against Newcastle at home on the 25th of November. Since then, 8 against Man United, 13 against Sheffield United, 20 against Luton. Although, sorry, that was away from home as well. I thought that colour was the home games. Yeah, it's just an incredible run. I misquoted there. Most of those games were at home. That 7 against Brentford was actually away. I thought the blue bar meant it was at home, but ignore me on that. But yeah, he obviously likes home comforts, so I will definitely be back in Palmer.
And back in Palmer against Spurs on Thursday as well. I take it ahead of Son. Yeah. Makes sense. And Monday, Palace, Man United. Really, really handy for anyone who wants to jump on Man United that this game is on the Monday. Get to see the lineup as well. Bruno Fernandes, best captain?
I'd say so, yeah.
Any opportunities to jump on anyone else at this point? I see Onana's kind of...
don't have that extra fixture, unfortunately.
Yeah, they haven't.
The fixtures are last day Villa at home, so not bad considering it's a home fixture. They're away to Wolves and home Man United. There is a chance for a Mateta punt there, but I think I'll just play it safe based on his ownership and Captain Bruno there. Yeah,
agree. Bruno is the man. Apart from he wasn't on Saturday, was he? When a few of us captained him, we wanted him to return. But yeah. Did have a quick look at the questions. I think we've answered most of the questions. Paul, did you have any? Were there any other questions? I think we had a couple about transfers. Sorry, we were asked earlier about had no transfers left. What kind of team would you want? Who would be the key players you'd put in your team? Ortega or Pickford?
Yeah, I think so. Ortega. If it was Ortega in goals. Arsenal's fixtures now aren't, even though they've got 3 fixtures, the fixtures aren't bad. I maybe go Romero, at least 1 Arsenal defender, Saliba, if not 2. I'll go White, add White in there as well. Midfield, Palmer, Fernandes, Foden, Son, Rodri, maybe, and then Isak and Haaland. Pretty boring, but so
it's what it is. Yeah, it's what's left in it. Just have a look if there's any.
They've all got extra fixtures as well. That front 8 have all got. The front 7 I mentioned there was 2 strikers, but all 7 of those have got the extra fixtures and that double game week as well.
Just a quick question off Dale Turner: is Haaland essential? He's 56 overall. He's left himself 0.1 short, so he needs to make 2 moves to get him in. But also, he would have to make a sideways move off another City asset to get to Haaland, as well as use 2 transfers. Yeah,
So
tough
this is
one.
this is one of those situations where I would consider one as a top 100 finish like important to you.
Yeah.
Being in the first page of the leaderboard, etc. If that's important to you, I would focus on getting Haaland in. If you don't mind taking a gamble with the chance that you fall out the top 100, or the fact, or with like the risk that you like on the flip side that you could press on, knowing if you're captain and Foden over a Haaland or such like, then maybe I wouldn't.
I personally think he's dispensable because of the, his returns recently, right? So I'll just look through his last kind of sort of 10 or 12 games. 4, 10, 7, 7, 2, 2, 0, 9, 12, 0, 8. Nothing to write home about there. So in terms of form, in terms of Man City's form, they're definitely not, they're not scoring as many goals as usual. Foden has stepped up as well. I would much rather have, Foden and KDB, an extra transfer than Haaland. Personally, I think you can let him go. Personally, and I wouldn't.
Last two fixtures are Spurs and West Ham.
The Spurs would be interesting. But then if you've got Foden and KDB as well instead of, I think I'd be tempted to let him go. Personally, he's just, I've got him right, so it's easy to say keep it if you've got. But and if you've got 6 transfers left, I'd do it as well. But if you haven't, you have to make 2 transfers plus get rid of KDB or Foden or Rodri. I wouldn't be doing that personally, but as Paul says, if you're in uber defensive mode, you definitely want a top 100 finish. You probably should do it.
You're top of your mini league, and
Exactly.
that second's got Haaland, and there's like all those like risk mitigating permutations.
Exactly. So yeah, hopefully we have answered everyone's question. The most important question of the night is, what's your favourite? And this evening, Paul, I would like to ask you. I think we've gone through all the good ones. So everyone we're going to have from now on is going to be pretty grim. But
I've got loads of questions. I've got loads of questions I could ask you.
Oh well, I tell you what. Then we'll reverse it from next week. We'll do that then. Is it? Well, I'm going to finish off with what's your favourite pizza topping? That is what I'm going to finish off with you.
If I was going for, I was going to say if I was going for this, and I'll do this. But I don't know what my answer would be otherwise anyway. So, but Diavolo,
I think I've asked you this already.
Yeah, you probably
have.
Why don't ask you? Why don't ask you the question this week?
Go on, ask me one. If you've got one. What
is your favourite chocolate bar?
That's a good question. See, really simple, but I really like that. Go to chocolate bar. I would. See, this is where you're good at this and I'm not, because I have to consider. The first thing always pops into my mind, and it's underrated. It's always overlooked, but it's underrated. But Cadbury's Boost is one that I always enjoy. It's always one if I'm, do you know what? A Boost. I really do enjoy a Boost. So I'm not sure if it's my favourite, but I will go for a Boost. What is yours?
Boost's in my top 10, maybe even my top 5. I like a Boost as well. Picnic is my favourite.
Oh no, it's got nuts in Picnic. I'm allergic. I'm allergic to peanuts, nuts.
Oh,
yeah. So I've never had a Picnic. Got some.
Do you remember a Fuse? Oh, that was a bar.
A fuse. Sorry, a Fuse or a Fuse? A Fuse.
A
Fuse. I've definitely heard. I've heard of it. Yeah,
it was in like a purple wrapper.
Yeah. I don't remember that.
It had like chunks of like toffee in it.
Oh,
as
really?
Well. It was like that Picnic. Well, Boost's only got 3 things really in it, doesn't it? Like caramel and nougat and the biscuit bit. Do you remember Boost? Right, so you're talking about Boost. Do you remember there was 2 other flavors of Boosts?
Yes, I do. And it just
one had nuts. One had nuts in it.
It did. It just dawned on me then as we were talking about. I remember the different color wrappers. Coconut.
One was coconut.
It was. Interesting ones in the chat. We started talking about pizzas, so we had haggis of Peter May and black olives of anchovies of Dave Hannigan. Then we moved to chocolate bars, and you know what? I actually forgot. I think this is my favorite. Same as FPL Spartans, Toblerone. I do like Toblerone. It's got to be freezing, not freezing cold. It's got to be from the fridge though, where it gives you proper when you bite the triangle. Colin Johnson says Yorkie, Perry Hart, Whisper, Carl Double Decker. Some
Whisper
really
Gold.
good
Whisper
ones.
Gold.
Oof, now you're talking. Peter May, Mars Bar. Sudge is in the chat. Welcome, Sudge. Says Whisper is recycled chocolate. Brilliant. Bobby Shearer says Bourneville or any dark chocolate. No, now we're showing your age. Do you remember the little Bournevilles in the? Which one was it? Was it Quality Street or Roses? They used to have little Bournevilles, didn't they? I can't remember.
And it was in the silver wrapper. It was almost like it was a small, like it was almost like a shrunk down version of the sweet.
Exactly that.
Yeah, I do remember that actually.
I do remember. I didn't like a Bourneville. Bobby's a dark chocolate fan. Dave Hannigan says chocolate bar picnic for him too. Two picnic fans. And Manchester.
Do you know whilst I agree with you? Whilst I agree with you in general about dark chocolate, Reason chocolate chews. Oh my god!
I do like Reason.
So
yeah, Reason. They were popular about 10 years ago, wasn't it? There was an advert, a dubbed advert, wasn't there? I think.
I was about to sing a song, but then I couldn't get the Haribo song out my head whilst doing it. So it's like it had to be a mishmash. Kids and grown-ups love it, so it's the Reason chocolate chew.
Yeah, that's right. Dave always has a Twix at the football. Twix. I mean, I don't mind a Twix, but it's about as bland as it gets, Dave. I gotta be honest.
Do you remember Drifters?
Yeah, do you remember Drifters? They were good. Do you remember Spira bars?
Spira.
Do you remember Spiras? Wow.
It was like a twirl, kind of, but it was like more. It was like it wasn't as flaky, right? Like a twirl was like a flake version of a Spira.
You're absolutely right. And I think Spira and Twirl came out roughly the same time, but Spira got quickly discontinued. And I used to enjoy a Spira. Glenn Murray says Star Bar deep fried, obviously.
By the way, there's a bar in Edinburgh called the Star Bar, and they have Star Bar. They sell Star Bars behind it. Star Bars are excellent, but they've got peanuts in them as well. That's like a boost.
Yeah, it is.
Very
it is.
Similar.
Windy says Cadbury's 5 centres. I can't remember that one. He says I'm showing my age now. I can't remember that one. I tell you what, I do enjoy as well. It's not.
Is that a packet like the Tasters? Remember, remember there was Mars Bar Planets. There was Tasters. Was that one like that? I don't know.
I do like Lindt chocolate. I know it's not a chocolate bar, but I do love Lindt balls. Oh my goodness,
Lindt Bunny.
Oh, they are stunning. Joseph, peppermint Aero out of the fridge. Are you do you kind of insist on it being in the fridge or not? Or could you eat it off the shelf?
Don't mind.
From Edinburgh, you'd have it off the floor, wouldn't you?
As long as it's deep fried,
you'd have it off the floor, mate. John Maloney, mint crisp. Chris is asking questions about Sky. I'm sorry, Chris. We're on to chocolate bars now. Viney.
If he tells us his favourite chocolate bar and it's nothing that he's listed, we'll answer his Sky question.
There we go. Viney, I fancied a chocolate bar when I was in a bunker playing golf. I was a sandwich short of a picnic. Very good. John Aiken says topic. All these are all the nuts in which I've never tried. Texan. Peter May says Texan. I can't remember that one. Colin says Whisper and picnics. Reason seriously addictive. John Maloney says.
Yeah.
Do you know what I like as well? I love Easter. I ate half an Easter egg early this afternoon. I love Easter eggs. Any really, Cadbury's, Galaxy. And I don't even know what it is. It must be the consistency.
There was this like white chocolate Oreo one, and but the egg was white chocolate Oreo. Oh my god!
Wow,
so good.
I'm trying to think what I had for Easter. I think I had a Lindt one actually. Dave says the Cadbury's 5 is 5 sections with each a different flavour. Wow. Peter Clinch, chunky Kit Kat in the freezer. I do like a chunky Kit Kat.
I've got a story about chunky Kit Kats.
Oh, please.
So, I was in Vegas, and I was in the Paris hotel, and sat down at a table, and the croupier heard my Scottish accent, said, "We've got someone here that's from Scotland that works here is from Scotland." I was like, all right. So the person came out. I got chatting away with them. They had a Partick Thistle little magnet on their badge. Pretty cool. So Yeah, so a friend of them was chatting him for ages, and I had said, "Oh, I'm coming back next. I'm coming back next year to Vegas." So I was at a surprise 60th last Vegas, and I was going back with my other half the following year. And he's like, "Oh, if you come back, would you bring me patty scones
Oh, how amazing!
and Kit Kat Junkies? The chocolate here is dreadful." He
Oh my
said, right?
goodness!
So I don't have Facebook, but my other half does, and I befriended them on Facebook. And I came back the following year, and I brought him Kit Kat Chunkies and Tatty Scones, and he gave us free
That
tickets
is
for
incredible.
like a show. And then I ended up playing for his football.
Oh,
ended
I
up
remember
playing
you
for
telling me about that.
as
I
well.
remember you
Yeah,
telling me
the
about
Las
that.
Vegas Partick Thistle Supporters Club.
That is a really, really good story. So the chocolate out there generally is just awful, isn't it? I suppose we're quite spoiled.
It's all that Hershey's, even their
Yeah,
Nestle
yeah.
and Cadbury's version. I've got that. It's like I don't know, like chalky type. Yeah.
I think we are quite spoiled with certain things that we take for granted, aren't we? With things like that. Just to close off, Dave says, sounds like we need a chocolate podcast in the close season with all these replies you get the audience. Absolutely. Paul, you've asked the best question. There's me trying to think of, quite kind of highbrow things like, your favourite childhood memory, your favourite author, like, what's your favourite chocolate bar? And you get all the engagement.
Did you see? Speaking of that, I know we're now talking nothing to do with fantasy football. Did you see it like on Lad Bible on Instagram today? It showed Mike Myers, and it was like his first outing in
really?
so long. He's 60 now, but that just made me think of that. Your Scottish accent reminds me of.
The reason that he
married an axe murderer.
The reason he spoke in a Scottish accent, like in Shrek as well, obviously he done that in a Scottish accent. It's just he just loves doing the Scottish accent. So there was no reason why Shrek was Scottish, apart from the actor wanted to do a Scottish accent. Unbelievable.
And in
Austin Powers. He just loves doing it, don't he? Yeah, brilliant. Good stuff. We have done the pizza one. I remember as soon as you said Diavolo, and I went, oh yeah, Pizza Express, they do them and it's really nice. Anyway, mine just for interest is like a barbecue meat feast sort of thing. But anyway, you can ask the questions from now on. What's your favorite? Because that was absolutely fantastic. We just rambled on for nearly 13 minutes about chocolate bar, so let's carry on. Let us know yours in the chat if you haven't already. But that is it from us for this week. Thank you all so much for those watching and listening. Your continued support is much appreciated. Maybe you should ask the chat, people in the chat, send us a question. What's your favourite? Now we're talking, right? John Maloney
do it on the thread next week, and then we'll pick out the best question to ask at the end.
That's a real, do you know what a brilliant question that is. I'll put it on the tweet and I'll say send in your cues and what's your favourite. We can both have a think. Just inspired by John Maloney, best Magnum ice cream. So he's, again, it's what's your favourite kind of, ice lolly or something on iced treat. What is your favourite? Just before we try. No, let's not. Let's not. We'll be going for another hour.
I do like Magnums. A Magnum or a Twister.
Brilliant. I do like Mars ice creams. Underrated. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening to our absolute ramble here this evening. Your continued support is much appreciated. Only 2 shows left, Paul, after this week, and you're not here for the last one.
I'll be for the last one.
Yeah. So after all that build up, you're only here for one more. So we'll have to make it a good.
That's why it has to be a listener question. That's why it has to be a listener question.
Absolutely. So we've only got two more shows left, and Paul's away the week after, so he's only here for the next week. But thank you for this evening, Paul. Where can people find you?
On Twitter at Paul McAnulty 1 MCANULTY.
My handle is at FFH_Fergi. If you like what you watched, please press the like button. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. If you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast version and leave some comments. I was wondering, Paul, if maybe in the close season we can do a non-Sky just chat about, we can get like a couple of topics just
childhood
to
memories.
Chat about childhood
Let's talk
memories.
about childhood memories.
Childhood memories, like an hour. That'd be good. Anyway, we'll be back next week to preview Sky Game Week 40, which will be the penultimate game week of the season. In the meantime, we hope you have a great remainder of Game Week 38 and Game Week 39, and goodbye for now.